नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते राधागोविन्दगोस्वामीति नामिने। नमस्ते प्रभुपादय देवं गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी ग्राम्यजननिस्तारिणे। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवत्युत्तमा श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। भूतैर्महद्भिर्जयिमा पुरो विभु निर्मायसे ते जदमोषु पुरुषं भुङ्क्ते गुणान् षोडश षोडशात्मक षोडं कृषिष्ट भगवान् वचांसि। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So we are in chapter 3. Today we are going to start chapter 3. So far we have completed until chapter 2. So we have slides to share with you. Let me project this slide so that you can also follow when I am talking. So far we have been discussing in the last chapter that while responding to the questions by the sages, Srila Sutta Goswami, he explained Vadanti tattvavidas tattvam jat jnanam advayam, where that dharma should be performed, execution of dharma is intended to know tattva. So what is that tattva? Tattva can be realized in three features: Brahma Tattva, Bhagavat Tattva, and Paramatma Tattva. So that Tattva is Bhagavan Krishna, and Srimad Bhagavatam, hearing of Srimad Bhagavatam can help one know the Tattva in full. So then, after speaking, Srila Sutta Goswami, he went on describing about the position of Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and other demigods, where we did explain about the position of Lord Shiva, because many people in this world, they are mistaken about the position of Lord Shiva. They consider Lord Shiva is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In that connection, we took the reference from Srimad Bhagavatam, like how come Lord Shiva became so powerful that Pada निश्चित सरित प्रवरोदकेन तीर्थेन मूर्ध्नि अधिकृतेन शिवो शिवोभूत. There is a verse in the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam which explains how Lord Shiva became auspicious. That path jasaucha nishrita sarit pravarodikdakena. That water which has washed the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, that is called Ganga. And by holding this Ganga on the head, Lord Shiva has become more auspicious. So in that way, so here Lord Shiva's glories have been established in relation to Krishna. So in that way, when we see Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma, they are glorified as the Supreme because their relationship with the Supreme Lord. So in that way, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And having explained that, now in next chapter, in chapter 3, we're going to discuss about, in first 5 verses, Srila Sutta Goswami explains Purusha avatars. Because we know the sages had expressed their desire to hear about the incarnation of the personality of Godhead. Athakyahi harir dhiman avatara katha subha. Avatara Katha. They wanted to hear about the description of the Avatara Tattva of the personality of Godhead. So now, to begin with, in the first 5 verses, Srila Sutta Goswami going to explain the Purusha avatars, and then next he will, after listing the name of different incarnations, he will conclude in 28th verse of 3rd chapter, Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Not that Bhagavan to Krishna. Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. So, now as we continue, we will come to that point to establish Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So in the beginning, Srila Sutta Goswami, he says, Jagrihe Paurusham Rupam Bhagavan Mahadadibhi Sambhutam Sodasa Kalam Adau Lokos Shikshaya. Sutta Goswami said, Sutta said, in the beginning of the creation, the Lord first expanded himself in the universal form of the Purusha incarnation and manifested all the ingredients for the material creation. And thus, at first, there was the creation of the 16 principles of material action. This was for the purpose of creating the material universe. So, here in the beginning, Srila Jiva Goswami, while commenting to this verse, he says, Nanu purvam brahmaditaya tridhaiva Tattvam ekam uktam. Previously, you have mentioned that Tattva is manifested in three features. That is Brahma, Paramatma and Bhagavan. Tatra Brahmana kim lakshanam Bhagavat Paramatma no va tatra vishesha. So what is the symptom of Bhagavan? And how do you describe the special characteristic of, or you can say special feature of Paramatma Tattva and Brahma Tattva? So, in that way, so in this verse now Sutta Goswami is going to speak that same Brahma is going to act as Paramatma. Like in today, we will see, Prabhupada will explain, Karana Dokshai Vishnu is the Paramatma of collective universes, and Garbhodakshai Vishnu is the Paramatma of collective living entities, and Kshirodakshai Vishnu acts as the Paramatma, super soul of individual living entities. So in that way, in different capacities, and one is acting as the super soul of collective universe, another one super soul of the collective living entities, and one the individual. So in different capacities, they are acting as the super soul. So therefore, Srila Jiva Goswami says that now Brahma iti Paramatma iti yo Bhagavan nirdishta so eva idam ityado. So in the verse 30, if you see the previous chapter, text number 30, there Srila Sutta Goswami explained, So evedam sasarjagre Bhagavan Atma Mayaya. See, my dear devotee, because we are doing a very detailed study, you should know what Srila Sutta Goswami has spoken previously and how he is speaking this verse. So the connection have been established by taking reference to the 30th verse of the previous chapter. If you have book with you, you can just take a look at where it says, So evedam sasarjagre Bhagavan Atma Maya. Here the Bhagavan who creates out of Atma Maya, his internal potency. What is that? Sad asad rupaya chasu gunamayo gunavidhu. Even though he is transcendental to the material qualities, still without getting affected by these material moods, he creates the material elements. So how he is doing now in this verse, how the Mahat Tattva is being created, that have been defined, that the same Bhagavan, Krishna, the Supreme Lord, who is the Supreme Tattva, original principle, how he is creating the universe. In the beginning, Sodasa Kaladu Loko Sishikshaya, so that have been now described in this verse. Jagrihe Paurusham Rupam Bhagavan Mahadadivi Sambhutam Sodasa Kalam Ado Loko Shikshaya. So here it is said that Ado means in the beginning of creation. So that means this creation of the cosmos, maintenance and annihilation have been repeatedly going on since time immemorial. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Bhutva Bhutva Praliyate, again and again, when Brahma's day arrives, all living entities come into being, and with the arrival of Brahma's night, they are annihilated. So in that way, so these living entities, they are born again and again in the arrival of Brahman's day. Srila Jiva Goswami explains, Yaha Sri Bhagavan Purna Sadaishwarya Tvena Purvam in just now we said in text number 30, so evedam sasarjagre Bhagavan Atmamaya nirdishta, that Bhagavan Purna Sareshwaryatvena Purvam nirdishta. So this Bhagavan word in text number 30 to second chapter, which speaks about so evedam sasarjagre Bhagavan. Here Jiva Goswami is saying this word Bhagavan in this verse refers to the Lord who possesses all the opulences, Purna Aishwarya. He possesses all the opulence. Nirdishta. So eva Paurusham, Rupam. That same person, he Purushatvena Amnayate. He expands that same Supreme Personality of Godhead who possesses all the opulences in full. He expands himself by repetition. So you see how the word is being used. Same person, he just duplicate himself. He replicate himself by repetition. Jadrupam tat eva adav. That same form in the beginning of creation, he sargarambhe, in the beginning of creation, jagrihe means he accepted. Prakrita pralaya swasmin linam sat prakatataya swikritavan. That means here it is explained that at the end of Brahma's life, that is called Prakrita Pralaya, or you can say that is called also Mahapralaya. So the Pralaya have been defined in two ways in terms of creation. One is called Naimittika Pralaya. At the end of Brahma's day, the annihilation takes place called Naimittika Pralaya. At that time, Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, Rasatala, Mahatala, Patal, then Bhuvarsva. These planets are annihilated. But in Prakrita Pralaya, which is called Mahapralaya, at that time, after the end of Brahma's life, all the living entities, they merge in the body of the Vishnu. So those who are merged in the body of Vishnu, therefore Jiva Goswami says, Prakrita pralaye swasmin linam. At the end of Brahma's life, when all the living entities, they were merged in the body of Vishnu. Sat Prakatataya Swikritavan. Now he is going to manifest those living entities. So here in this verse it has been said, Bhagavan means Sri Krishna. Lokos Shiksha, for the purpose of creating the material universe. Krishna accepted plenary person as the Purusha incarnation. What is the Purusha incarnation is like? Called Mahadadivi Sambhuta and Shodasakalam. Mahadadi Sambhuta means Mahat Tattva, Ahankar Tattva and Pancha Tanmatra, 5 sense objects, along with the 5 sense objectives. So Shodasakalam means 11 senses and 5 this Mahabhuta. So earth, water, 5 air, all this. So Prabhupada says that the Lord first expanded himself in the universal form of Purusha incarnation. So these forms have been defined as the Virata Rupa. Even though the Lord himself in this way, even the Lord expands himself in this way, but we should not mistake the Lord's form to be material. So somebody may say, here it says, Jagrihe Purusham Rupam, that Purusha, he assumes the form of Shodasa Kalam and Mahadadi Sambhuta. So that means this is supposed to be a material form, right? All these Mahatattva and senses, Ahankar, all these principles, they are material. So that means the Lord's form is material. No. Dusar Prabhupada is saying, even though the Lord expands himself in this way, but we should not mistake the Lord's form to be material. It will be explained in the third verse. In the third verse, it is said, Jasya Vayavar Samsthanai Kalpito Loka Vestarah Tadvai Bhagavata Rupam Vishuddham Saptamurjitam. Vishuddham Saptamurjita means Lord's body is free from the contamination of mood of passion and ignorance and even material sattva. That's why his form is Vishuddha Saptamurjita. It's a Vishuddha Saptamurti. So that means even though the material energy merges in the body of the Lord, we can understand that Lord is not contaminated. In this connection, like somebody may say, in the last time when Brahma ended his life, all these created cosmos, the ingredient, they went and merged. These are material objects. They merged in the body of Vishnu. So then that means he is contaminated, Vishnu is contaminated, he is touched by the material energy. No. Here Jiva Goswami, he explains that even though material energy merges in the body of Vishnu, still he remains uncontaminated. How? Just like fire remains concealed in firewood, but cannot touch it, right? We know fire is there in the firewood, but it cannot burn the wood. It cannot, affect the wood. It's in concealed form. So similarly, all these objects remain in the body of Mahavishnu, but it cannot touch him. It cannot contaminate him. So in that way, we need to understand that Supreme Lord, in the beginning, he creates this. So Prabhupada, he writes, I would just project this slide for you. Maybe you can read from the slide for your reference. The Mahat Tattva is assembled in some corner of the vast, unlimited spiritual sky. And the part which is thus covered by the Mahat Tattva is called the material sky. This part of the spiritual sky called the Mahat Tattva is only an insignificant portion of the whole spiritual sky. And within this Mahat Tattva, there are innumerable universes. All these universes are collectively produced by the Karana Tapasari Vishnu, called also the Mahavishnu, who simply throws his glance to impregnate the material sky. So we know Yoga Nidra Vitanmata. Actually, this Mahavishnu, he lies down in the causal ocean, and actually he is in meditation, Yoga Nidra. That is his glancing. Okay, we when remain awake, we can do our activity. But in case of Vishnu, when he is sleeping in meditation, that time everything starts. Sankalpataya. Just by his sankalpa, his desire, this Mahat Tattva appears in the material sky. And you should know in this connection that there are innumerable Vaikuntha lokas. And in Vaikuntha, Siddha lokastu tamasa parijatra vasanti Siddha brahmasuke magna daitya sarinahata. So in the topmost planet of Vaikuntha is Goloka Vrindavan. Then slowly, Dwaraka, Ayodhya, all these planets, locals are there. And in the Parabrahma, there are two divisions. One is those who attain perfection to merge with the Brahma Jyoti, they go to that loka called Siddha Loka. That's also a part of the spiritual world. And another part, there are unlimited Vishnu Murti forms. There is like Matsya, Kurma, Varaha. They have their own planet where they reside with their devotees. And then after that comes Karana ocean, and the causal ocean, where the Mahavishnu, he lies down. And then, so Yoga Nidra, from his, the air hole, from his body, unlimited universes manifest. And then, that's how he starts the creation. In the next verse, we will explain that after creating the universe, he enters into each of the universe in form of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. So you can see the same Vishnu, he replicates himself in form of Mahavishnu. And then again, when he's lying on the universes, actually he fills the universe half with the water which is coming from his body, and then he lies down on the Garbhodaksh ocean, and a lotus sprouts from his navel. Then the Brahma is born. So this is how the creation continues. So this is the description. That's what have been described in the next. So in the next verse, in text number 2, it is said, Jasyam bhasi sayanasya yoga nidra vitanmatah navi hradam bujad asit brahma Vishwasijam Pati. Vishwasijam Pati, the father, the master of the material universe, the engineer, chief engineer, Prabhupada says. He was born where from? Nabhi Hradam Bhujat Asit. So, Prabhupada writes, a part of the Purusha lies down into the water of the universe. From the navel leg of his body sprouts a lotus stem, and from the lotus flower atop this stem, Brahma, the master of all engineers, is in the universe becomes manifest. So you notice that Karanodakshaya Vishnu expands into Garbhodakshaya, and then as he enters into the universe, then the lotus sprouts from his navel and Brahma is born. So in this connection, according to Sridhar Swami and Jiva Goswami, this pastime took place in Padmakalpa. Padmakalpa means that is the beginning day of Brahma. Now we are in Sweta Varahakalpa. Okay, so that is the first day of Brahma. We are now our Brahma, he has completed 50 years. This is 51st year, and we are in the day of Brahma, that is called Sweta Varahakalpa. You should know in this connection that, like in our human calculation, we have days, then month. Our 30 days equals to 1 month. Sometimes it varies also 31st, but just for the sake of understanding, we have week, so days, then months, then year. Then in this way we live for 100 years. Brahma also is like that. He has days, then months, years, and then he lives for 100 years. So this is the 51st year of Brahma going on now, but in Shvetavaraha Kalpa. So, but this pastime took place in the beginning of Kalpa called Padma Kalpa. So in the beginning of chapter 2, you will hear Padma Kalpam Atha Sunu. So anyway, so here Prabhupada writes in the purport in the beginning, he says, the first Purusha is the Karna Dapasai Vishnu. From his skin holes, innumerable universes have sprung up. In each and every universe, the Purusha enters as the Garbhodakshai Vishnu. So in that way, when he enters as Garbhodakshai Vishnu, then Brahma is born on the top of the lotus. So that is how things continue. Just for the sake of understanding, I would like to refer to the point where Sutta Goswami says, Yoga Nidra Vitanmata. Jasyam Vasisyanasya Yoga Nidra Vitanmata. Through his Yoga Nidra, he actually expands everything. So, Prabhupada in the purport, he says, if you have the book, you can just look at from the end of the purport, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 line. Okay? Okay, let us go little up, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 lines from the bottom of the purport. The Purusha impregnates and the Prakriti delivers. We should not expect milk from the fleshy bags of the neck of a goat, although they look like breastly nipples. Similarly, we should not expect any creative power from the material ingredients. We must believe in the power of the Purusha who impregnates Prakriti or nature. So here, first of all, Prabhupada is making a comment. The Prakriti, some people, they say Prakriti is creating everything. No, Prakriti cannot deliver anything without touch of Purusha. So that is what been said here. Because the Lord wished to lie down in meditation, Yoga Nidra Vitanmata. Why did he wish to lie down? Actually, in Upanishad, it is explained that everything is happening even though by the will of the Lord, but it has a kind of a particular time where the things should continue. Like at the end of Brahma's life, when all the living entities, they go and merge in the body of Vishnu, there is a time when the karma of the living entities are now ready for action in the next life. So that time, automatically, Lord wishes to lie down in meditation. The material energy created innumerable universes at once. So when this time comes for creation, then he lies down in Yoga Nidra, in meditation. Then the material energy creates unlimited universes. This is how it happens. In each of them, the Lord lay down, and thus all the planets and the different paraphernalia were created at once by the will of the Lord. The Lord has unlimited potencies, and thus he can act as he likes by perfect planning. Although personally he has nothing to do, no one is greater than or equal to him. That is the verdict of the Vedas. So this is how the process of creation starts. Then in text number 3, Sutta Goswami continues, Jasya vayava samsthanai kalpito loka vistaraha tadvai bhagavato rupam vishuddham sattva-murjitam. So it is believed that all the universal planetary systems are situated on the extensive body of the Purusha, but he has nothing to do with the created material ingredients. His body is eternally in spiritual existence par excellence. So, Vishuddha Sattva Murjita. He is not touched by Raja or Tamaguna of this material world. So, in that way, this form, which is a Virata Rupa, the conception of the Virata Rupa or Vishwarupa of the Supreme Absolute Truth is especially meant for the neophyte who can hardly think of the transcendental form of the personality of God. So you can imagine, you can understand now why it has been defined like Sambhuta Sodasa Kalaha, some Mahadari Sambhuta Sodasa Kalaha. It's like a material form, but it has been described like this for the neophytes whose consciousness cannot go beyond the manifest matter. Therefore, to help the neophyte to meditate, or we can worship, even to worship the personality of Godhead, this have been defined like that. Like in India, we have seen there are aborigines who live in the forests. When they see some beautiful things, they start worshipping the mountain, trees, sky. So this is a kind of way of showing their appreciation, their love for the Creator. So those who are in abject darkness, their consciousness cannot go beyond these material objects. Therefore, for them, this form of the Lord have been defined as Virata Rupa, so that they can take advantage of this Virata Purusha, the form of Virata Rupa, and they can perfect their life, gradually moving from the lower standard of God realization to the high standard of God realization. Just like nowadays, we have started preaching in the um, mm, um, backward areas where these low class, what are they say? Mm, tribal people, they reside in the forest. Now our devotees have started going to those areas, and we are doing a lot of program with them, and now they are gradually taking up Krishna consciousness, who did not have any idea about God, but sometimes they would show their appreciation to the opulent display of the creation of the Lord. So this is how they gradually elevate themselves. As stated above, the Lord extends his potency in the form of the Mahat Tattva. So you can understand, this is just an expansion of the potency of the Lord in form of Mahat Tattva, which includes all material ingredients, the extensions of power by the Lord and the Lord himself personally are one in one sense. Because Upanishad says, Sakti Sakti Matayor Abheda, when the Lord expands his energy, it can be accepted as good as Lord is expanding himself. So in that way, by taking the statement of the Vedas, Sakti Sakti Matayor Veda, we can say this is also the Virata Purusha manifestation of the Lord. Even though this is nothing but an extension of his energy, still that can be regarded as the Purusha, the Lord himself. Now, okay, you can say those who are backward, they cannot connect with the Lord. This is how, by seeing the opulent display of the God, they can relate to him. But is there a form where those who are devoted, they can meditate? Yes, according to Siddhar Swami, he explains in the next verse, those who are yogis, they actually meditate on this form. What is that? In text number 4, he says, पश्यन्त्यदोरूपमदभ्रचक्षुषा सहस्रपादोरुभुजाननाद्भुतम् सहस्रमूर्धश्रवणाक्षिनासिकं सहस्रमौल्यं वरकुण्डलोल्लसत्. So this is the object of meditation of the yogis. How do they meditate on the Vishnu form? The devotees. Here is a Paschantado Rupam Adabdha Chakshusha. This form is seen by the eyes of devotion, Adabdha Chakshusha. Therefore, Prabhupada translates the devotees with their perfect eyes, means devotional eyes, see the transcendental form of the Purusha who has thousands of legs, thighs, arms, and faces, all extraordinary. In that body, there are thousands of heads, ears, eyes, and noses. And they are decorated with thousands of helmets and glowing earrings and are adorned with garlands. So you should not think that this form is something like what Arjuna was seeing in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. No, this have been defined in Purusha Sukta mantra like Sahasra Shir, Sat Purusha, Sahasraksha, Sahasrapat. So that is the description of this Purusha upon whom the yogis they meditate. Prabhupada writes in the purport in the beginning, he says, with our present materialized senses, we cannot perceive anything of the transcendental Lord. Very important point. And that Lord's form is beyond matter, is supreme spirit. And when we have these material senses, we cannot perceive him through this material senses. That's why it is said, Adabra Chakshusha, the eye with love and devotion. It is said that Prakrita Vastu Nahe, Aprakrita Vastu Nahe, Prakrita Indriya Gochar. Aprakrita Vastu. Lord's form is transcendental. That cannot be seen through material senses. Nahe Prakrita Indriya Gochar. He is formless to the neophytes, but he is in transcendental form to the expert servitor. Like those who are devoid of devotion to the Lord, they cannot experience the Lord in the world. And they say Lord he doesn't have a form. But those who are devotees of the Lord, they know what is the form of the Lord that have been described in the scripture. They can meditate upon that particular form of the Lord, wherever they may be, and Lord can make himself available to such devotees. That's why those who are impersonalists, neophytes, they cannot know that Lord has a form, but those who have love and devotion for the Lord, and Lord can manifest the form according to the desire of the devotee. Then in the text number 5, Sutta Goswami continues, Etannanavataranam nidhanam bijamabhyayam jasyang sangshena sijjanti devatiryang naradaya. So here it is said that Garbhodakshayi Vishnu is the source of all emanations. This form, the second manifestation of the Purusha, is the source of indestructible seed of multifarious incarnations within the universe. From the particles and portions of this form, different living entities like demigods, men, and others are created. So, in this connection, we should know that Garbhodakshayi Vishnu, in text number 5, it is explained that Ditya Purusha Avatar, the second Purusha form of the Lord, that is Garbhodakshayi Vishnu, is the source of all incarnations. Etan nana avataranam nidhanam bijam abhyam. Abhyam bijam. Indestructible seed. Like in the material world, if you take a seed, once it fructifies, it gives rise to a tree, then the seed is lost. But this is abhyam bijam. From him, all these avatars come and they go again, enter into him, and he remains the same seed. Okay, he's always the seed. And Siddha Swami, he's saying how he said that no, Nana Vataranam. What are those? He's manifesting. Devatiriyang Naradaya. You can see Devatas, rishis, and even the animals, demigods, everything is coming from him. He says, Siddha Swami says, no kevalam avataranam eva bijam. Not that this Garbhodakshayi Vishnu is the seed for all the incarnations. Kintu sarva praninam api iti ah. It is said that he is also the seed of all living entities. Jasyamsa Brahma Tasyamsa Marityaya Tena. So we know from him Brahma came. We just now we discussed from the lotus which grew from his navel, Brahma was born. Then from Brahma, Marichi and others, they were born. So in that way, they are actually coming from this Garbhodakshayi Vishnu. In that sense, that's why in this verse it is said that Jasyang sang sena sujyante devatiriyang naradaya. And so in this connection, in Laghu Bhagavatamrita, there is a verse which explains that the Vishnu who is manifesting himself in three Purusha forms, they are the same. Why I am saying this? If you see the translation, Srila Prabhupada says this form means the second manifestation of the Purusha. That means Garbhodakshayi Vishnu. Then if you see in the purport, at the end of the first paragraph, Srila Prabhupada, he writes, so the three features of the original Purusha are thus understood, and all the incarnations within the universe are emanations from this Kshirodakshayi Vishnu. You can see the last line in the first paragraph of the purport to text number 5. Last sentence Prabhupada says, and all the incarnations within the universe are emanations from this Kshirodakshayi Vishnu. So somebody may get confused. In the translation, Prabhupada is saying manifestation of the second Purusha, that is Garbhodakshayi Vishnu. That is also what has been said. And in the previously we have been discussing about Garbhodakshayi Vishnu. So it is obvious that all the incarnations, including Deva, animals and rishis, everybody is coming from him. Then all of a sudden, in purport, Prabhupada says, is coming from manifestations, are manifestations from his this Kshirodakshayi Vishnu. That means we need to understand that there is no difference. Therefore, there is a verse in Laghu Bhagavatamrita which explains Vishnu to Trini Rupani. This Vishnu, he assumes the three forms. What are that? Purushakhyam Natho Vidu. The three forms have been defined as Purusha, right? That's why this Karanadokshayi Vishnu, Garbhodakshayi Vishnu, and Kshirodakshayi Vishnu have been defined by the spiritual practitioners as Purushas. They are Purusha avatar. Purusha is one name. Karanadokshayi Vishnu is also Purusha avatar. Garbhodakshayi Vishnu is also Purusha avatar. And Kshirodakshayi Vishnu is also Purusha avatar. Same Vishnu, he assumes three forms. That's why in the beginning, by referring to Srila Jiva Goswami, I was saying that Paurusham Rupam, Purushatvena Amnayate. He actually replicates himself in Purusha form. So what are this happening? He said, ekam Vishnustu tri rupani purusakhyannato vidu ekam tu mahata srastu. First, that is Mahavishnu is the creator of total material energy called Mahatattva. Dvitiyam Twanda Samsthitam. The second, who is called Garbhodakshayi Vishnu, Dvitiya Purusha Avatar, who is situated within each universe. Then, Dvitiyam Twanda Samsthitam, Tritiyam Sarvabhutastham. The third, who is called Kshirodakshayi Vishnu, who lives in the heart of every living being. And he who knows these three becomes liberated from the clutches of Maya. My dear devotee, now you see, just bring your understanding to the previous chapter, last chapter. So while describing about the Tattva, Sutta Goswami established that the Tattva is Bhagavan Krishna. So now, if you know Krishna, this is what you should know about him. That he, same Krishna, he first expands himself into Balaram. Balaram is his first expansion. Then from Balaram comes first quadruple expansion in Dwaraka. Vasudeva, Sankarsana, Aniruddha and Pradyumna. Then the second quadruple expansion in Parabhyam, the Vasudeva, Sankarsana, Aniruddha and Pradyumna are manifestations of the Sankarsana of Dwaraka Chaturbhyuha. And then from the Sankarsana of the Parabhyama Chaturbhyuha comes Garbhodakshayi Vishnu. Okay, this is how the manifestation happens. But in one sense, you can say they are these three Purushas who is again expanding himself as Karma, Garbho and Kshirodakshayi Vishnu. So they are the same. And they are originally coming from Krishna. Anyone who knows these signs, that is what here it is said in Laghu Bhagavatamrita, he who knows this becomes liberated from the clutches of Maya. So the so much detailed discussion about these Purusha incarnations of the Lord have been given to us by Srila Sutta Goswami just to help us understand how Lord Krishna great is. And when you know him with all his Purusha avatar forms and features, then you can surrender yourself to his service and you can be liberated. So next, starting with text number 6, Srila Sutta Goswami is going to explain the different incarnations of the Supreme Lord. In text number 6, he says, okay, I think maybe before I continue, I wanted to again show you the slide where Prabhupada is giving his comment to this person. So let us read some comments from Prabhupada. Etannanavataranam nidhanam bijamabhyam jasyang shangshena sijjante devatiriyang radaya. In this connection, Prabhupada speaks. So if you see this Garbhodakshayi Vishnu, is a source of multifarious incarnations, vision. What are those? Gunavataras, Lilavataras, Manvantara Avatara, Yoga Avatara, Shaktiavesh Avatar, even Purusha Avatar also. So, here the Shaktiavesh Avatar, Prabhupada explains, and there are directly empowered incarnations and indirectly empowered incarnations. Those who are directly empowered incarnations, they are called the Avesha, and the indirectly called Vibhuti. Means those incarnations, they display more energy, more power, they are the Avesha. And then those who display less power, they have been defined here as Vibhutis. Okay, these Vibhutis are defined in the Bhagavad Gita also. So in that way, this is what I was referring to, that there is no difference between these three Purushas. Why? These three Purushas are living in the water, Karna, Garbha and Kshira. They are the super soul of everything. See, either you say Purusha or super soul. One level is given to these three. What are they? They are super soul. One is, that means Karnadaksai Vishnu is the super soul of the collective universe. Garbhodaksai Vishnu is the super soul of the collective living beings. And Kshirodaksai Vishnu is the super soul of individual entities. So in that way, because they are super soul, so therefore there is no difference. In the beginning, you remember I read out Jiva Goswami's commentary to explain how now to explain the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which was spoken in the last chapter, text number 11 and 30, the same Purusha had been now defined as the super soul in first 5 verses. This is what is the conclusion. So, Prabhupada says, in this way, as you have learned from previous verses, many thousands of expansions, we are also expansion, but we are separated expansions. Vivinnamsa, living entities. Samsa, Vivinnamsa. Samsa, just like my hand is part and parcel of my body. Direct expansion. Okay? Then, and from the hands, there are so many hairs. They are also from the hand, just as my head, and from head, there are so many hairs. So, they are also expansion, but they are separated expansion. I can cut my hair, but I can't cut my throat. So very nicely Prabhupada explained. Sangsa and Vivinnamsa. Sangsa is like hand, and then they cannot be separated from the man Purusha. And Vivinnamsa is like my hair. We are separated energy. Okay? So then we'll continue from the book, where from text number 6, Srila Sutta Goswami, now he is going to just list down the different incarnations, the names. He is saying, Sa eva prathamam deva kaumaram sargamasrita chachara duscharam brahmacharyam akhanditam. So in the first, he incarnated as Kaumara. Sarga. Kaumar Sarga means Sanatan, Sanat, Sanandan, Sanatan, Sanat Kumar. So these 4 Kumaras are born as the first incarnation. Then in the second time, he accepted the incarnation of Boar. Dityo. In the second, in text 7, you can see, second, he incarnated as Boar. So now one can be confused by seeing this explanation. Sutta Goswami is saying in the beginning, first he incarnated as Kumara, second as Boar, then third incarnation as Narada Rishi, then fourth incarnation as Dharma, Kalasarga. So as if he is coming like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, he's just counting one after another. No, it's not like that. Srila Siddhar Swami, he clarified the doubt. He said, Prathama Dityadi Sabda Nirdesha Matra Apekshaya. So this, it says, Prathamam, Ditya, Pritya. This is just Nirdesha Matra. Means just for the purpose of counting. He is indicating. Okay? this is the number 1, number 2, number 3, like that. You should not say number 1, this has to be number 1. No, he's counting just like that. And then at the end you will see Srila Sutta Goswami, he will make a comment that well, whatever have been said, but there are so many others also it is not spoken. So it has been just counted like that, first, second, third, fourth. It is not literally, first time he came like that, second time, no, it's not like that. Okay? Just for the sake of counting, he's just narrating like that. Then, in text number 10, he explains that this Lord, he came as Kapila avatar. Then the 6th incarnation, text number 11, it says he was born as Dattatreya from Anasuya. Then in text number 12, the 7th incarnation is Yajna. Yajna. Then 8th incarnation is Rishabhadev. 9th incarnation is Prithu Maharaj. 10th Matsya Avatar. 11th Kurma Avatar. 12th Dhanvantari. 13th Mohini. 14th Nrsimhadev. You can see this. So in Dasavatar Stotra, Jayadev Goswami is counting only 10, right? But here Nrsimhadev is coming on the 14th when Sutta Goswami is counting. So that's why he's just indicating them by putting the number like that. Then in 15th incarnation he is counting Vamanadev. And then in 16th he is counting Parsuram. Then 17th he came as Lord Vyasadev. He divided the Vedas. Originally, Veda was only one. In Satyayug, in the 9th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, actually, Srila Prabhupada writes this. I should tell you. Some people, there's a confusion. Some people say originally first Veda was Yajur Veda, and Prabhupada says Atharva Veda. But in any way, it has been defined like this. In Satyayug, there was only one Veda. Before the beginning of Kali Yuga, this one Veda, the Atharva Veda, or some say Yajur Veda, was divided into 4 for the facility of human society. Means the human being can take advantage from the Vedas. Therefore, the one Veda was divided into 4. So in this connection, my dear devotees, don't get panicking that some say sometimes, because nowadays, in internet, so many things are available, different types of information. Oh, Prabhupada is saying here originally Atharva Veda existed, and some others saying Yajur Veda existed. Then what happens? You enter into the argument, get confused. Oh, what is right? What is Prabhupada right? Is Prabhupada wrong? My dear devotee, there is a way to study Shastra. You see, Shastra is meant for guiding us to grow further in Krishna consciousness. Now you tell me, what does it mean? What is the message here? The message is originally Veda was one, whatever the name may be, okay, whether Yajur Veda or Atharva Veda, doesn't matter. And it was divided into 4 so that we, the living entities, can take advantage of the Veda. So now it is divided. Okay, whatever one Veda was there, now it is divided. So you can just take the advantage. So, in that way, here it is said, 18th incarnation Lord appeared as Ram Chandra. The 19th and 20th incarnation, he appeared as Balram and Krishna. If you see the text number 23, this is very interesting. Text number 23, he counts Balram and Krishna. Ekono vingshe vingsati me Vrishnishu prapya janmani Rama Krishnau iti bhuva Bhagavan aharat bharam. So that Bhagavan, the Supreme Lord, who appeared as Balaram and Krishna to eradicate the burden of the earth. Here it says Bhagavan. So these Krishna and Balaram, they are actually Bhagavan. They are not the incarnation. We should not we should not be mistaken to see that because Sutta Goswami has counted them amongst the incarnations, therefore Krishna and Balaram are incarnations. No, here Bhagavan has been, the word Bhagavan has been mentioned here. So therefore they are actually the same Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and Balaram being his first incarnation, he is also Bhagavan in that way. Okay? Then in text number 24, he continues the 21st incarnation as Buddha, and then 22nd incarnation have been defined in text number 25. But even though here in our calculation we can see there are 22 or 23 you can say. In some other they say there are 24 because they count Hamsa and Haigriva. Doesn't matter, whatever, they are also incarnations of the Lord, but don't get bewildered by such kind of counting. Just Sutta Goswami is counting. So then at the end in text number 26, Sutta Goswami says, Avatara Hirsankheya Hari Sattva Nidhir Dvija Yatha Vida Sinah Kulya Sarasasyu Sahasasa. O Brahmanas, the incarnations of the Lord are innumerable, like rivulets flowing from inexhaustible source of water. You can see, if you go to the Himalaya, so many rivers are coming, but source is one. So here, Srila Siddhar Swami he explains, Anukta Sarva Sangrahartham Eva Aha Avatara iti. Means after counting 22 or 24 incarnations, they are numbered. Now, next, he is going to say that Avatara Asankhya means those who are not counted should be accepted here. That there are many incarnations of the Lord, like rivulets flowing from the big source of water. Then in 27 he says, Risayo Manava Deva Manaputra Mahojasah Kala Sarve Hareriva Saprajapataya Smitaha. All the rishis, Manus, demigods, and descendants of Manu who are especially powerful are plenary persons or persons of the plenary persons of the Lord. This also indicates the Prajapatis. So in that way, so these vibhutis, and the Amsa avatars have been thus defined, and then at the end he is going to speak about Krishna to Bhagavan Swayam. Krishna is Swayam Bhagavan. In text number 28, he says, Ete chamsa kala pumsaha Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam Indrari Vyakulam Lokam Mudayanti Yuge. Ete chamsa. Ete means what have been previously mentioned. These 24 incarnations. Out of those, previously I have mentioned the name of Krishna. That Krishna here. Ete cha amsa kala pumsa. Some are amsa and some are kala of the Purusha. Who is that? Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Krishna is Swayam Bhagavan. Not that Bhagavan to Swayam Krishna. Sometimes some people who doing the Anmaya, they don't accept Krishna as Bhagavan, then they do like this. They say, And you cannot write Krishna to Bhagavan, Swam Bhagavan. No. They say Bhagavan to Krishna, Swam Bhagavan to Krishna. No, it should not be written like that. Because there is a rule in logic. Anuvadam anutvaiva na videyam udirayat. Without first mentioning the subject, you cannot tell the predicate. So here subject is Krishna. So that's why Krishna's name should come first. That means Krishna is Swam Bhagavan. Not that the quality of being God is seen in Krishna. No, Krishna is Swam Bhagavan. Other incarnations, they represent the qualities of Krishna, who is Bhagavan. Okay? Who is Swam Bhagavan. Others are incarnations. There is expansions. And explaining this, Srila Prabhupada, he gives a very nice analogy that somebody may say, okay, if the other gods are emanations from Krishna, that means we should look down upon them. Are they in any way, less, like how to understand? Let us read out from Prabhupada's comment. It will give a very clear-cut understanding about what is this. Okay, so here Prabhupada is speaking. So it's very nicely explained. Other day also we are referring to this person in Chaitanya Charitamrita class, Avatar. When in the room small electric bulbs are displayed, it does not mean that the electric powerhouse is limited by the small bulbs. The incarnations of the Lord displayed limited powers because so much power is needed at that particular time. Lord incarnates, like here is saying, Indrari Vyakulam Lokam Mudayanti Yuge Yuge. So when it says, okay, let me read out. All of them appear on the planets whenever there is a disturbance created by the atheists. The Lord incarnates to protect the atheists. Indrari Vyakulam. The Ari, Satru, the demons, or you can say the opponents of Indra, when they torment the world, then Lord comes to protect his devotees. And here he is saying, as much power is needed in that particular time. What does it mean? In the next, it is explained in the next slide, like Lord appeared as Parasuram, Nrsimha. At that time, he had to display anger. That was the man, because as Parasuram, he had to kill the Kshatriyas, right? He annihilated Kshatriyas 21 times. Nrsimhadev, he killed Hiranyakashipu. That was his main activity at that time. It was, required to display only that much power. He came only for that cause. If you see, next, Narada, Varaha, Buddha, they came to establish faith in the people. So at that time, it was a necessary fact for the Lord to install the faith in people. That's why he is predominantly acting on that power, not that he is limited to this only. Similarly, when Ramchandra, Dhanvantari came, they established fame, Balram, Mohini, Vamana, beauty, Dattatreya, Matsya, Kurma, Kapila, transcendental knowledge, Narada, Naranaran Rishi, they taught renunciation predominantly. So in that way, you can see that at that time, whatever power is required, it is displayed by the Supreme Lord. So in that way, at the end, he will say that Janma Guiham Bhagavata, Janma Guiham Bhagavata, Janma Guiham Bhagavato Ijo Etat Prayuta Naraha Sayam Pratar Gnan Bhaktya Dukha Grama Vimachyate. This is the Shruti Phala, the benediction given by Srila Sutta Goswami, that whoever carefully recites the mysterious appearances of the Lord with devotion in the morning and in the evening gets relief from all miseries of life. We know there are some devotees, not from ISKCON, outside. When they see this, they just, what do? They'll just chant the name of this incarnation. And they'll say, oh, every day, just morning time, evening time, you just chant this name, then you are kind of delivered. Okay, of course, Bhagavatam is saying that's a good approach. We don't criticize you, we are not finding fault with you. But Lord will be very pleased when you read Bhagavatam daily and you know more about his incarnations, his pastimes, how he is, helping the devotees. Like just now we are discussing about, when he came to display particular power, like Nrsimhadev, how he protected by displaying anger to Prahlad Maharaj. That gives you a lot of faith, and you become devotee of Lord Nrsimhadev also. So that is the, I would say that should be the goal of the devotees. Therefore, in our Krishna consciousness movement, Srila Prabhupada, he has introduced this system of daily Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Every day we should read Bhagavatam, understand it thoroughly from the viewpoints of the Acharyas, and that will help us to get fully grounded in Krishna consciousness, and that will help you get relief from the material miseries. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. So I think we will conclude here today. And next we will continue from text number 30 onwards.